At People's Capital Group, we help you invest in real estate. Build your wealth by owning professionally managed apartment buildings in the northern New Jersey market. We want to show you how owning real estate is attainable, even for the busy professionals that don't have the time or experience investing in real estate. Now, we only work with select people who are serious about building wealth. So find out if you qualify at peoplescapitalgroup.com. Welcome to the Passive Cash Flow Podcast, where we help people invest in real estate. On this weekly show, we discuss in-depth topics explaining how we help people invest in high-demand real estate and why over the last decade, dozens of people have decided to invest passively with People's Capital Group. Some episodes include interesting guests that span dozens of different types of industries. Other episodes offer analysis of popular topics that pertain to people seeking to learn how to build passive wealth in real estate. So listen in to enjoy our off-the-cuff podcast made to entertain, educate, and help you learn how to create passive wealth in real estate. Today we have a very interesting topic. I'm going to speak about best passive income streams for doctors in 2022. See, a lot of people that invest with us are doctors or people in the healthcare industry, quite frankly, because they're so busy and they're such high earners that they get taxed very heavily. So people that are busy and are paying a lot of taxes look to real estate syndications as a great avenue to gain more tax shelters and make their money work for them, because they don't have the time to run around and do all the things we do to renovate and reposition mismanaged apartment buildings in North Jersey. It's a full-time job. So that's why doctors really enjoy passive income. But what is passive income, right? We want to really define this, because a lot of gurus out there are going to say, well, owning real estate is passive income. So what I did to get started in real estate was I went out and I bought a 5-unit and I hired a management company to manage the property. And I figured, well, it's passive income. The gurus told me so. Well, the phone started ringing and the management company said, well, this person didn't pay rent and this thing's broken now, but the guy didn't show up. Do you have another guy? And we ended up having a number of bad tenants brought in from the management company as well, and ended up having a lot of challenges with the building because the management company I found did not take care of the building the way I wanted them to. They didn't take care of my baby the way I thought it should be taken care of. And I found that with a lot of other management companies, because I hired 2 more after that and didn't get the results I was looking for. So buying a property and hiring a management company means you're still on the hook to answer demands from that management company. And if they don't do their job properly, you're really on the hook then to find a good management company. Or in our case, we started our own, but that was a huge undertaking and took many years to perfect. So it's pretty obvious why doctors should invest in passive income sources, because they don't have the time to be active investors. Busy people in general try to work into their day tenants and toilets. Well, they're just going to burn themselves out. And that's how I started to feel after a while as well. And we eventually developed our own management company. So you want to stick to what you do well, keep earning those high returns, working in the healthcare industry, which is a great industry to be in. And as a doctor, you should always look at passive income sources. Not only do you not have the time to manage and find the great assets and take care of them long term, but also working with professionals and experienced operators in the real estate space is extremely important. Because otherwise there's lots of mistakes to make, and there's a hard way to learn and there's an easy way to learn. And by investing in a real estate syndicate with professionals, it's a much easier way to learn this business than it is to do it all yourself and work with a management company. So real estate as passive income, real estate can be passive income. It can also be the opposite of passive income. It can be active income. It can be very hard income to work for. And what I've found is that the only way to truly achieve that passive income is by working with real estate crowdfunding sites or real estate syndications. So a real estate crowdfunding site is something like Fundrise, or a site where you can invest through a third-party company that ideally they're connecting investors, passive investors, with qualified real estate operators. Now, you'll find plenty of opportunities out there. There are third-party fees, and there are certain added risks to going with real estate crowdfunding sites, But the good news is you can get started with smaller investment amounts and probably be invested in a number of opportunities as well over a number of different markets. Now, real estate syndications differ in that they are more focused on maybe a specific property or a group of properties, and generally the minimum investment amount is going to be higher. Now, real estate syndications tend to produce better income and be more aimed towards accredited or sophisticated investors. There's a certain qualification process, but therefore the investments are a little more exclusive and a little bit better investments. So you want to look at crowdfunding sites, but also real estate syndications. And of course, People's Capital Group is a proven real estate syndication here with a good track record. So whenever you're selecting the right real estate syndicate, you want to make sure they have a good track record and that their investment strategies align with your investment strategies, time-wise, timeline-wise, and also income and return-wise. And there's this overall mentality when investing. You want to make sure it aligns with the operators. So by finding a good real estate syndicate investment, you can easily invest passively in real estate, and that's a good fit for doctors. But let's talk about passive income streams for doctors in 2022 outside of real estate. You have high dividend stocks. So these are stocks that produce strong dividends, and dividends are good because it's cash flow. It's similar to cash flow from real estate. Dividends can pay out on a quarterly basis generally. And sometimes dividends can be 2, 4, 6, 8% of the stock on an annualized basis. Of course, depends on the company and the year and the stock. But dividends can be very good. Now, high dividend stocks tend to not have as much equity growth, although they can from time to time, but they tend to produce more so dividends than equity growth. And now you want to focus on the fact that also in high dividend stocks can produce added tax ramifications, right? If you're cash flowing on a piece of real estate, and you can write off that cash flow with tax depreciation, which real estate offers. One of the greatest benefits of real estate is tax depreciation. Well, you can't do the same with stocks. See, if you invest $100,000 into a stock and you earn $8,000 in dividends that year from the stock, well, you're going to have to pay taxes on that $8,000. And unfortunately, if you're a high earner, you're already paying a ton of taxes, and you really don't want your investments to cause more tax burdens. You want your investments to allow for a tax shelter, right? You want your investments to create no more additional taxes to pay because you're already paying a ton of W-2 tax in income on your W-2 taxes on your W-2 income. So with high dividend stocks, you are going to end up with an additional tax burden. Now, with high cash flow real estate, you have less of a tax burden because you can write off that cash flow with tax depreciation. So that's one of the greatest benefits of real estate over stocks. But you do want to diversify partially into the stock market. Of course, most people are 100% invested in the stock market and really need to diversify more into tried and true, professionally managed real estate in high demand markets. But high dividend stocks can be a great way for passive income streams for doctors in 2022. We've seen the stock market have a pretty good run, although it's been jumping out a little bit recently, although who knows where it's going to go. Of course, you want to have partial investment in the stock market and not be fully invested in a volatile stock market. Another good option for doctors looking to create passive income streams in 2022 is peer-to-peer lending. You can lend out through different websites. There's peer-to-peer lending options. You can lend to people doing real estate investments and have it in a first lien position. You can also lend to other businesses as well or do private loans. Now, this could be a little more management intensive, but ideally it is a passive income stream because after the loan is given, you're collecting interest on that loan. But peer-to-peer lending, you have to underwrite the borrowers, make sure they have good credit worthiness. And of course, if they can't pay the loan, you can be looking at an entire loss of investment. Whereas something where you're invested in real estate tends to not be an entire loss of investment. So you have to be careful there. For weaker borrowers, you can charge higher interest rates, but you will be at a higher risk of losing the investment as well. Stocks and bonds in general are a great way to create passive income streams for anyone, and especially in 2022 here, we see the stock market took a bit of a dip. We don't know if it's a good time to buy or you want to hold off and wait for it to dip a little further and then buy. No one really knows, of course. Bonds are not quite keeping up with inflation, so even high interest bonds tend to not even keep up with inflation where it's at right now, which is around 7%. So most bonds pay around 2% to 3%. So even a high dividend bond high interest bond may not keep up with inflation right now. a strong stock should beat that 7% inflation. In fact, a good stock, maybe a couple mutual funds, can be doing better than that in the right stock market. Another way for doctors to create passive income streams in 2022 are CDs or high yield savings accounts. So unfortunately, most high yield savings accounts aren't going to keep up with inflation right now. So you're going to actually be losing your wealth due to inflation. So it's not a great option if you want to earn a strong return on your investment and beat inflation. Now, high yield savings accounts in the crypto space, such as stable coins, could be a good option. Some stable coins produce up to a 9% annualized return, which could be very competitive and beat inflation. But of course, the cryptocurrency space and stable coins in general might not be as trustworthy depending on the platform. So for a very large investment, some people may not feel comfortable there. Of course, a very, very safe investment would be a CD or a certificate of deposit. But if your money's sitting in the bank in a CD, it's definitely not keeping up with the 7% rate of inflation. So right now for 2022, that's not a great option if you want to beat inflation, which most investors, their goal is to at least beat inflation. And that should be your goal as well. As a doctor, you want to make sure you're not losing wealth to inflation because you work way too hard for your money and it should not be sucked up by inflation over a period of time, which is what's happening to a lot of investors right now. And of course, you have your expertise. So as a doctor or someone very experienced in the healthcare industry, you can sell your expertise through videos and lessons, different things like that. Now, this is a more active way to create income, but once the content's created, it can be passive. But this is a kind of a unique idea for someone with all the expertise in the medical space to create educational videos and audios and sell those for profit, which is a way of creating eventual passive income streams for doctors in 2022, especially because a lot of people are looking for education these days and willing to pay for it. But in conclusion, the best way for doctors to create passive income streams in 2022 is to be diversified between the stock market and real estate. See, in a high inflationary market, we see real estate growing very nicely and the cost of debt becoming lower and less. So therefore, real estate can really create a good return on investment in a high inflationary market. Same with the stock market. We see a lot of growth there, and that could be a good investment now as well. But we suggest about half of your investment should be in professionally managed, high-demand real estate. So a real estate syndication where you're investing in a large property with well-experienced professionals operating the building and making sure that the building performs and the asset performs as planned. If half of your capital or a portion of your capital is not invested in professionally managed high-demand real estate through real estate syndications, then you might want to consider going to peoplescapitalgroup.com and filling out a qualification form to see if you do qualify to invest in our apartment buildings in New Jersey, where we buy mismanaged apartment buildings with the help of our investor group, and we reposition, we improve those buildings, we renovate them and get them performing for our investor group. And our investors enjoy the benefits of real estate, such as cash flow, tax depreciation, and equity growth over time. So that's a great way to beat the market, beat inflation, build your wealth over time, and not have to worry about the headaches of being a landlord and the shenanigans of dealing with management companies. That's our job here as real estate syndication operators. But here's two more final frequently asked questions that we get as well. What is the highest paying passive income for doctors or just in general investors, passive investors? So it's hard to say. Obviously, passive investing, you're generally sharing the pie with another operator of some type, meaning that you're hiring someone essentially to do the operations day in and day out, more than just a management company. They're actually buying the building with you, teaming up with you, doing the operations, and own the asset with you. So that's very different. So that's a good win-win structure a lot of times too, where your needs align and your goals align as individuals by investing in a building with other people and working with operators that own the building as well and have an incentive to perform. So the highest paying passive income tends to be structures where the operators have an incentive to perform, such as real estate syndications and different small businesses or startup opportunities where, again, that could be higher risk, but can also be higher reward. But generally, passive investments in real estate tend to produce some of the best incomes over time, especially when we're doing the buy, renovate, refinance, and trading into bigger buildings over time, where an initial investment can be the gift that keeps on giving and grow exponentially over time. So another question I get is, how can a doctor invest money, right? Doctors want to make sure that they're doing the right due diligence on investments, but they don't have a whole lot of time. They're very busy individuals. So when investing in a real estate syndicate, our job is to do all that due diligence and bring you that due diligence on a nice, easy to digest form, such as a private offering or a private placement memorandum. So we try to make it very easy to understand this information, to digest this information. We make a webinar that goes over the investment opportunity as well. So whenever a doctor or someone that's very busy is investing money, they need to be able to analyze the investment opportunity quickly, really in an hour or less, because when you're investing passively, the goal is to not take your time away, your valuable time, which is very valuable and highly paid when at work, but also your time with your family and friends. It's priceless, quite frankly. So when investing passively, you don't only want the investment to be passive, but the due diligence of it and the process of investing needs to be quick and easy. Of course, you want to do your due diligence. Make sure the operators have a proven track record and have your investment strategies aligned, and you understand the investment timeline and how you're going to make those returns. But you don't have to know every little nitty-gritty detail of the market or detail of the investment opportunity. You, of course, want to review the investment opportunity, set aside a good hour to make sure it's the right fit for you. But when investing passively, you don't have to do a ton of research behind the scenes. That research is given to you to review. So it makes the investment decision much easier, much faster, and time is money. Especially when you're a doctor, time is money. Doctors are paid way too much, or paid a great amount for their time. Not way too much, they're paid probably owed actually much more as far as I'm concerned. The value of doctors, incredible. So it's really a space where you're paid so much for your time that when you're looking at an investment opportunity, you don't want to waste your time there either, because time is money and everyone's time is valuable, but especially your own. So if you're a doctor, you're looking to create passive income streams in 2022, check out our website a little bit more. Enjoy our content here at peoplescapitalgroup.com. We have podcast episodes every single week. We have educational webinars about twice per month. We have new blogs every week as well. And we focus on helping people passively invest in real estate. We focus on North Jersey apartment buildings, buying mismanaged apartment buildings for great prices, and making them perform for our private investor group. So if that sounds like a fit for you, whether you're a doctor or not, or just a high earner or someone that works in the healthcare industry in general, we work with a lot of people in the healthcare industry and just in general executives that work in Manhattan and are high earners in the tri-state area and all around the country. You might want to go to peoplescapitalgroup.com and click the button Qualify to Invest. Fill out a qualification form. We'll be in touch with you and figure out if this is a good fit for your investment goals. And hopefully we can start building our wealth together in high demand real estate here at People's Capital Group. So thank you for listening. Check out our additional content. Enjoy your day.